Pokemon trading card game in 2023 was a wild ride. And I mean that because we're kind of coming off the high of, the whole like investor scalper era from 2021 to 2022 essentially. And, prices entering 2023 were relatively high for the TCG, and there was just a lot going on, in the trading card game itself and, just everything involved with the cards. But we saw a really cool trend. I say it's cool. I know, a lot of investor scalper people aren't very happy about it, but we saw the trend of, 2023 Japanese Pokemon cards were still in, triple digits for a box, well over $100. And English special sets, you think of 151, people were going absolutely nuts for. Prices were just astronomical. I mean, like Whatnot had like single packs essentially that you could get from random product for like 15, 16 bucks as soon as it dropped. It was nuts. But we also had some really good things going on with Pokemon trading card game in 2023. And that's in the form of like the game itself. We had some really awesome moments. We had some really fun decks being played. Most regionals just kept going up with participation as the year went on. And it was just phenomenal. San Antonio regionals, not that long ago, I think it was only about a month ago now, had the most number of players and participants any regional has ever had. The Pokemon TCG as a whole has ever had, just shy of 2,000 people. So there was a lot going on with 2023, and I have a big feeling that 2024 is going to be even better than what 2023 was for the Pokemon trading card game. So the first thing I want to talk about and why I think 2024 is going to be even better for Pokemon TCG, we're starting to see the trends of prices coming back down to earth. They've been coming down for a little while now, but we're finally kind of getting back to a point where it's reasonable again, I want to say. Japanese product is kind of back to the $50, $60 range. Maybe not quite 50s, but like low 60s to mid 60s. For booster boxes, and of course it's not special sets or anything like that, but just regular core sets. When we saw at the beginning of 2023 sets were going for 80, 90 bucks, sometimes over 100 depending on what was in the set. So it's very nice to see that with these next two sets coming out, was it Cyber Judge and whatever the other one is, I'm drawing a blank right now. They're being pre-ordered for about $65. Most places are averaging around $65 for both boxes. Per box, but both box sets are going for that same price, which we typically have not seen in the last couple years. So that's a huge plus and a huge thing for all of us, like collectors, and for the players to really get into. Obviously, it's more, Japanese players, unless you know how to read Japanese. I don't. But one other thing that comes with that on the English side is that we're starting to see prices kind of come back down to earth a little bit for the English product as well. But that's also translating to retail. Retail is now kind of going back to normal a little bit. We saw it a lot with the Christmas holiday kind of going through. And I know that a lot of it is going to be because of Christmas holiday. But ETBs were, limited price down to $40 again. We're talking like the most recent Scarlet and Violet ETBs were being reduced back down. There's been tons of clearance Pokemon collection boxes and tins that are still relatively new on the shelves of major retail stores just to get more people to buy them, because I think most retailers are starting to see the signs that people are not going to overpay, especially at retail. They're not going to overpay for Pokemon cards. And, when a $20 collection box is going for about $26, $27, people are going to pass on them all day long. And another reason for that, and another big point I want to bring up, is online stores have been doing fantastic jobs at providing good discounts for product. And there's a lot of smaller online stores that have been doing this, and mostly to survive. We'll say it that way. Like they can't compete with these big box stores, but they can mark down prices a little bit better on these products. And a lot more people are going to just buy things online when they hit values or like a clearance. Pretty much any card shop you go to right now, if they have an online store, is marking product down below what the actual MSRP is. And to me, that is a huge sign that the trading card game itself is actually recovering, because all the scalper investor people are kind of leaving the game. I don't want to say all of them, but a large majority of them are, and we're kind of getting back to the normalcy of what the game is and should be, in my opinion, where you have like just your regular collectors and you have your players, and that's what at the end of the day thrives and survives for the TCG. I mean, we've seen it time in and time out. I mean, Pokemon has had its ups, it's had its downs, and when the dust settles, every single time, it's the average collector and the average player are the ones that have been there the whole time, and the ones that are maintaining it and bringing us to the next big increase. And we're going to get there again. It'll get there again. Pokemon is a big enough brand and popular enough to where we might have a couple years here where it's kind of on a downward trend, investing wise, and people kind of get out of Pokemon and the trading card game as a whole. But there will inevitably be another climb back to the top where a lot of us aren't going to like it again. But with that kind of in mind too, I'm noticing a huge trend of stores actually being really well stocked for product. And I know a lot of, maybe not a lot, I've been getting some accounts from people that are saying like their stores still don't have a lot of product, and they can't find stuff. Typically those are stores that have been like really reducing and limiting the amount that they actually put in store as well. And we actually talked about this on the Cardboard Addicts podcast a week ago, where one of the podcast members, Sudan, he was saying his Walmart, he noticed, has kind of like shrunk their card section in size, where my Walmarts and my Myers and everything else is like have doubled in size of what it used to be. So there's some variation, on that, and your mileage definitely will vary. But there's a lot of good signs for the TCG and the game itself, collecting wise and playing. And speaking of playing, PTCG is it's blowing up, man. People are underestimating the players hugely here and underestimating the game as a whole. With 2023, we've seen such a huge increase in players. And I mean, it's a Pokemon franchise as a whole. It's not even just the TCG. It's Pokemon as a whole. I mean, we've seen a huge increase in PTCG players, in VGC players, in Pokemon Go players, in Unite. Like, we've just seen it across the board, like, just kind of expand, and people are getting back into it, which is really awesome to see. And, as we just hit with the San Antonio Regionals, the largest regionals ever, I think we still have room to grow. And my prediction for Worlds this year, which is in Honolulu, Hawaii, may actually be the biggest we've ever seen. That's kind of one of my first hot take and bold prediction, is that the Worlds in 2024 will be the biggest we've seen to date. And then my last point I really wanted to make, and this is like the biggest and hottest take of them all. It's really not that big of a hot take, honestly. It's just a trend. We've seen it before. I think we're going to get back to a point in 2024 where Pokemon card sets, there's always going to be like one super sought after collectible card. Like, it always happens. But I think we're going to finally get back to the point where the most expensive cards to get from a set are the ones that are the most playable. And to double down a little bit, I think when it comes to some of these playable cards, like some super popular Pokemon that might just be, close to game breaking, but not game breaking, just would be very popular for decks, we'll probably get a promo of some kind to where it is available publicly for everybody at a cheaper price. So those are kind of my hot takes and big predictions. I know a lot of people are going to argue with me that, you know, the waifu tax is still real, and it kind of is to an extent. And, you know, there's going to be sets down the road that have Charizards inevitably that people are going to go nuts after, which is why I still think there's going to be at least one card that's like just highly collector oriented and nothing else. But I think we're going to kind of shift back to where card values are going to be based off of playability. So that is my 2024 hot take. By the way, Happy New Year. I just kind of wanted to put that out there and do a 2024 prediction video. This is something I thought about doing last year and I just never did. But let me know what you guys think is going to happen for the Pokemon trading card game down below. Let me know if you think it's going to be you know, if we're going to continue on this trend and things are going to keep going up, or if you think they're going to get worse. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. But thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next video.